let's do it by map.
Cynthia taking a picture of Robert taking a picture.
Here, Jane, look over here.
Hi. Yeah, you're going to put it on social media.
Well, not me, Camille is.
Yeah.
Someone else is gonna pay me.
Oh, tell everybody what we're doing in next month. We're going to be pretending like we're at Selling Sunset. Have you all watched it?
So,
Yeah, tell them why we're doing it, yeah.
okay, so next month for the team meeting on July 15th, we're having a Selling Sunset KW barbecue. So it's gonna be really fun. Cordova Cafe is gonna cater some sliders, and we're all gonna dress up to the nines. Like think, like something you would never wear to a listing appointment, but just something fun. Robert's gonna set up a photo booth so we can take new headshots or take pictures with your friends. And we're gonna play trivia, real estate trivia around like Pasadena or like some of the famous homes that are sold in the world, like how much the Playboy Mansion go for, or which one is the Einstein house. So it'll be a good time. We're gonna have drinks, mocktails. So yeah, July 15th after the team meeting.
July 15th.
July 15th.
Now,
And you already do a great job, so I'm really curious.
You just have to come as you are.
yeah, just come as yourself.
Yeah.
Just come as is.
Yeah, come as is. The rest of us have to dress.
You already sound like so good, so I'm like curious if you step it up like at 10, like what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I would like.
Oh, well, let's see how dressy you can get.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be very fun.
Wear a tuxedo or something.
Well,
Wear a tuxedo.
yeah.
So I'll just come like this. But that's cool. I did see it on the web.
Okay. Ken and I had never watched it. Yeah. We took 15 minutes and watched it. And guess what? We don't ever have to watch it again. But I was telling Cynthia, I've got rid of all my high heels and all my tight skirts and all my low-cut things that they wear on those shows. Oh my God, how they ever sold business, I don't know.
Jane, maybe we should go shopping, huh?
Yeah.
Or to Mama
Do something, get my false eyelashes back on.
That could be a community experience.
What?
That could be a community experience.
Yes, that would be a great. All right, so this is the other way you'd want to do, like Altadena. Where are we? I think that mostly everything above Loma Alta, which has not been much, has sold. So you've got this one. This is Devonwood, I think. No, it's Loma Alta.
I have a house coming up on Rubio.
On Rubio Crest?
If it ever is ready. Yeah.
Let's comp that one, Jane.
What's that?
She wants us to comp Rubio Crest.
Okay, we can do that.
But it's not land, it's
Oh, well.
a house.
No, we can't do that. Not today.
Not today, okay, that's fine.
Okay. So one of the things that I was doing is playing around with these is I have the client, I have Windrock, which is, I think it's Mendocino, yeah, it's this one here, overpriced at $849. This one on the same street sold at $770. So mine should really be in the $770 range. But you can list things high because you can always come down, but you can never go up. So says my seller.
Okay.
Yes,
How did you know that you overpriced it?
because the one right down the street, two lots down, sold at $770.
Sellers think that their things are more special than everybody else's things.
So they listed at
You
8.
were overpricing it.
Yeah,
So did you bring it down?
not yet. No, so the whole reason I've been going through this practice is because I've got I have to know myself exactly what I'm talking about in order to be able to tell them. So that's why it goes back till the end of May. And I didn't do it before. Okay, so Brett, what were we going to do? We were doing something. What happened?
Looking at absorption rates.
Yes.
So how much inventory is, how many months to sell the current inventory?
Well, let's ask, what do you guys think? What do you think our inventory, how many months of inventory do we have?
40-something. Are we doing single family?
No, we're just doing land today. Just the land.
So there's,
Okay,
so we have
They're
6,
active.
we have 16 that are pending, so I consider those as in escrow closing. So we've got 157 and 16, who, somebody can add that up for me.
157 and 16?
157 and 16.
173.
Divide by how many months? We've had February, March, April, May, and June. So that's 5.
What's the 157?
The ones that have closed already, 157 have closed.
34.6.
So we have 34 that are selling a month. And we have
From what period you said? From
for February.
February? When did you count January? Or did you
No, because nothing really sold in January.
Actually, not really fair to count February.
Oh,
Because
picky.
it's 4.
Right, yeah.
But 35 is an okay number, because,
That's a fair number.
yeah, although in June, we've already sold 28 in 2/3 of June.
Yeah, well, we're almost finished with June.
Oh, so these souls are cumulative? You're adding them, so it's not, you're not saying.
I think it's slowing down, but not by too
157 sold in
much.
June, or you want?
No.
March, April, May.
I'm not very good at doing sheets, you know?
Oh, it's on the back though.
But on the back, it tells you how many have sold every month.
157 is a total.
Total,
Oh, and because you count pending under contract as sold.
yes.
Okay.
So right now, if we have 141 on the market, you just divide that by 35, and we have
And then on the back too.
Or something, 4.5 months?
4.5 months.
I didn't know it was on the back.
4.5 months of
Inventory.
So it's shifting toward
435.
It's, yeah, becoming more of a buyer's market. And I thought one of the things that was so interesting is the fact that 56 sold in April. So if you were to, if we had been smart and we wanted to sell lots, we should have put them on right away, because that's when people put them all on. And now it's like, okay, you've got competition now. There's 141, and that's only a month. We went from 97 up here, 97 at the end of May, to 141 active.
But people,
Isn't part of that also, yeah, we have more on the market, but it's also the summer. April was like,
But they're saying that our summer is going to be like our spring. That we had, and the market center would tell you it was very slow. The first quarter of this year was really slow in sales. And now things have started to pick up.
do we think that the prices are coming down though? Or are the prices, is it just taking longer to sell because sellers are still holding out for
I
the
think their
price?
sellers are holding out. But, okay, so then it comes down to pricing. You know, you can't compare size lot,
Because you're starting from scratch, basically, whatever you're getting.
right?
So can you even comp from lot size? Like, how would you?
That's why I did it by price.
Okay.
Because if I thought I had a lot, and it depends on the location. If I thought I was getting this part of Altadena is different than over here. So in my head, so on my lot, I only compared it to the lots that were in the country club area, because a country club's I think is gonna sell better than if you're over here by Lincoln.
do you think that's still gonna apply? I don't know that it's still gonna apply.
I don't know.
Are they gonna keep the country club, or are they going to?
Supposedly they are.
Well, I don't know if it's, what you're saying is, because it's all gonna be brand new, is it gonna change? Maybe not. Maybe it will. The lots are smaller. That's why we did the number on dollar per square foot. It's $71 per square foot for the lots on the average. But Brett, what I didn't do is do it by price range.
Well, that'd be size. So you could
So this is just general.
do lots that are 8,000 and under, and 8.
I'm still gonna ask you to help me when I get a land listing.
No, but I think the whole thing about pricing, it's the same, even when you go to price a house.
Right.
Yeah, this is just, we have we've never had this kind of an inventory before.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great that you have this data now.
Yes.
That there's all these closings, you
Yeah.
know, so then at least people aren't, it's like, when it first started, it was like, what do we price it at?
And what did we didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't know how many people were gonna sell either,
Yeah.
was the other thing. At first, when the first one went up, we're like, oh my gosh, that's so fast, like how could they? And then everybody else started selling, and too many people started selling.
Well, one of the things when I started real estate, I used to work for an auction house and I appraised fine art. And one thing that I realized doing fine art appraisals, you can't really appraise art per square inch because there's so much variety in the quality of, you know, if you look at the completed work of different artists, there's so much variety. So whenever, that's really helped me in real estate because whenever I have a listing, I really try to find the closest houses that are the most comparable to exactly what I have. So not really doing what most people do with a CMA where they just come up with the, you know, average what everything sells for, but I try to find like, oh, these people remodeled their kitchen and my people remodeled their kitchen. These people still needed a lot of work and my people still needed. So I try to find things as close as possible and as similar as possible.
You should sell in Orange County.
Yeah.
Well, I'll sell anywhere. I mean, like,
No, you know why I said that.
no.
Okay, because Orange County, you could pretty much, you know, if you go into a certain tract, they're all the same.
Right.
Yeah, so it's much easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I lived in Palmdale where it seemed like everything was all the same, but like it really wasn't because some people would have, you know, fully landscaped their lots and other people would still have a dirt backyard. Like, so those are the kinds
The
of like
little things.
minutia that I really try to find when I'm pricing. Like,
Okay, so when you're talking about these vacant lots, there isn't that much difference.
but there are because some are smaller and some are bigger, and then
Well,
we still
yes.
have locations of like a mountain site versus a place where you can walk to a coffee shop. Like those are the kinds of things that I mean, I feel like there's not a lot to go on, right? Like we're like grasping at straws. Like what are we going to use to try to figure out how our buyers
It seems
comparing?
like views are important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then maybe insurance is harder to get.
Right, yeah.
And just because you
So-
have a view, if there's a lot in front of you, what are they gonna build? And now you don't have a view, that's the
Yeah.
other thing too, so it's just a very unknown. I
Right.
wanna go back real fast, so if we have 173 and then we divided that by 5 because 5 months of inventory, so the 35 number, that's how much we have a month's worth of inventory?
That's how many are selling, roughly are selling a month.
Okay, so about roughly 35 or something. Oh, yeah, absorption rate, okay,
Yeah. So we think we have 4.5.
okay.
Okay, and so the thing that we talked about last week is that 6 month is the turning point when it's a seller's market versus a buyer's market. And so we are coming up to a real buyer's market in the land because we're at 4.5. And a month ago, it was definitely a seller's market, and it's switching, and I think it's switching fast.
Well, that makes sense because just classic supply and demand, right? The more and more of these lots that come onto the market, the more it's going to get.
Have you looked at
Flooded
who the
with
buyers
supply.
are though?
Okay. So what's happening with the buyers?
Are they still all
Well,
investors? or-
Yeah, originally, there's about 2 or 3 groups on the west side. That, I haven't looked at this, I'll have to ask ChatGPT.
Go ahead, ask ChatGPT.
No, I'm not that bad.
So, okay, I've had calls on mine,
Yeah.
and they are small investors. They're not big investors. They're buying 4 or 5 lots, not buying like the big investors. And the big investors were buying a lot back in March and April. And I think we're seeing smaller investors now. And the house that's sold on Windrock, right down the street from mine, was bought by a family who took their money out of the the stock market, because the stock market wasn't very good, and bought the lot, and they're going to hold it for a couple years
Okay.
and then build.
Somebody sent me a spreadsheet of like who's bought everything. There's an Altadena group that's tracking who's buying stuff, and they have a list that they're showing like wherever they can find who the buyers are. I can find that. And
That would be
share it.
really, that would be interesting to,
Yeah, it's like one of the Altadena groups that doesn't want people to be buying stuff, and they're tracking. If you buy, they're tracking you and putting you in their spreadsheet. I'll find it. Hold on. I have to figure out which email they sent it to. I'm not gonna find it on my phone. I'll look on my computer.
okay. So what else we want to talk about?
Quick question, going back to earlier where you said we can, of course, track, price per square feet on the solds. Why can't we see it on the actives? I mean, it'll just be list price per square feet,
That'll be
right?
list price,
Yeah.
and actually.
No, it doesn't list price, is it?
Yes, because
It's-
you can look at this one, you can see list price versus
And you
selling
can just
price
kinda
per
calculate it
square
manually.
foot.
But it doesn't show it on Flex?
No, it shows,
It just shows list price, it doesn't show price per square footage for some weird reason.
What you
Changing
could do
concept.
though, what I did, I just, because I have both, when I use, I guess it's Flex,
that's Flex.
okay, because we have CRMLS.
And this CRMLS too, I mean,
I
think it's the same.
The one through PFAR.
and that's
I
CRMLS.
just looked at all the sold comps. It's 153. I did it last week. I just did one page detail, and then that was a PDF, and I put it in ChatGPT. So ChatGPT could do that calculation for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you export it to an Excel file?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you can also just do it manually?
You can
Yeah.
tell it to do anything,
Okay.
but you have to be very precise in what you tell it.
No, I meant from Flex.
Can we,
you
Oh.
jet
change the
export
search
to
to
a
active real
CSV?
quick?
Yeah, I was just gonna do,
CSV
yeah.
or
So I
to
can
Excel.
see.
Exactly.
It's kind of like I used to be able to memorize phone numbers and now I don't know anybody's.
And then the people that are buying, do we know anything about what they're trying to build?
I have not,
Are they building like a house, or are they building a house and an ADU?
I think that's what-
well, your partner is building a house and an ADU.
Yes, yes.
But now you can, if it's big enough, you can build 2 houses and 2 ADUs,
Right, yeah,
even on a
one lot.
18 square foot lot.
Really?
Oh,
Well, that was even before the fire, so I don't know.
well, I think also it's, you know, for people who are rebuilding, it's probably limited by their funds, you know, like how much do they have to rebuild?
Right.
Like maybe they get the plans for every, like to do maybe an ADU or 2 ADUs, and then they start with the house.
I've heard that if it's within 10%.
Okay, so what they've done, you have it, can you see it?
Yeah.
Over here, oh, let me print it.
Much different experiences.
It's by acre.
Oh, I wonder if that's a setting we can change.
Well, I don't know how to change it.
Okay.
But it's,
Default comes up as acres.
yes.
If you click into the actual, listing itself.
No, it doesn't do it either. Let's do Stone Hill. I can't, oh, because that's in print.
Tab to the left. Go up.
Up?
Yeah, in the tab, see the tabs up there?
The where? Here.
Yeah, this map.
Oh, the tab. Yeah. Okay, now go,
Like, click on one.
yeah, pick anyone. Oh, let's,
Be able to add a field.
I tried,
There's a list price per square foot right
Just
here,
multiply by 14.5.
1656.
okay, but that is by,
Yeah.
list,
Oh, by,
by acre.
oh, even though it says square foot?
I think so, because you look over here, wherever it is, it's acre, list price per acre,
About 3.8, 3.9.
$721 per,
Wait, so is that correct? 169,950 divided by 10,264?
but
That should be 1650.
go ahead.
I don't know what that is. Right? If we take the price, 169,950 divided by 10,264, that should be 1656, around there.
That's been on the market for,
Wow, that's cheap land.
Yeah, that's very
There's something
cheap.
wrong, because right now in Altadena, it's closer to 4 million per
Yeah.
acre. Because you divide by 43560, so it's, yeah, there's something wrong with that land.
Tore down their house. And
So yeah, I'll select a different one. We'll try it, because it's roughly what, we were saying like $70 a square foot, right?
Yeah.
oh, let's do Rubio Crest, Mary Ann.
Something,
So if you select that one,
attention building. Yeah, no, that must be very,
and
very
then go to detail,
copper. A big slope.
725.
Is that a land listing?
So go back up. It says it's okay, this lot is 14,000 square feet, 14,626.
Trying to buy another.
725 divided by 14,626. Yeah, $49 a square foot. So if we scroll down, it's there. $49.57 a square foot.
So we can do it by individual, but not, it doesn't show up on my,
That's why I think it's a setting. I wonder if it's a setting. So if we go back to this. Any other settings?
That one, two houses.
it should be able to,
There was like a
Yeah, another lot.
sort view.
if, all right, go ahead.
Search details, export.
So it's interesting here, Lilac Canyon is up in Lavinia, and it's $800. I mean, it's on the market for $800.
There's something special about that. Must, because that's really cheap price.
I would think so.
'Cause that's about $25 a square foot. Because if
I'll have to
it's
figure it
$800
out.
an acre,
But there used to be a way to change the views on things.
No, go ahead. You can hear. No, this isn't Jane. This is us. This is a process. Yeah, just hit over here so that'll go away.
Yeah, so it does have a listing, but we just have to figure out the list price per square foot. We just have to figure out how to show it
up on this sheet.
first page. Yeah.
Do you see what she was trying to do?
not quite.
The way it shows up on my sheet doesn't show it per square foot.
Right. It shows up by acre, but if
Right.
you drill into each listing,
It shows it.
it shows it.
I see, I see.
So we were trying to see if there was a way to add that up to the top, so it would show up.
You probably can. I don't know about Flex MLS, the other one, the Acadia one. I know you can add fields.
Yeah, you can add fields on this too, but I don't.
Yeah.
I tried doing it and I couldn't figure it out.
Or if you were importing it to Excel, then it'd be easy to just convert acres to square foot.
Yeah, it would be real easy.
You just divide by, you multiply by 43560. That's how many square feet an acre. Everyone knows that, it's on
Yeah,
the test, right?
that's right.
When is the best time to buy a house?
Okay,
Okay.
That's what I tell people.
what else do we want to, what else do we want to figure out?
2 years from now, this will have been the
We
best.
wanna figure out how to get the land listings.
We want to know how to get a land listing.
How'd you get yours?
Oh, past client.
Yeah, because Jane knows everybody.
No, I don't know everybody, but it's past clients is what I think we're going to see. And I did read somewhere that they told us not to go door to door.
How can you go door to door?
I know what, I don't mean by door to door, but I mean, but don't go by calling people, that would be terribly awful.
Sending a letter or a postcode is not
Right.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying that would be very,
So more like, could you show up at like at a, I mean, I don't know if I would even do this, but show up at a community event or something?
you could.
A booth or, I don't know,
I think that's what Teresa Fuller's doing.
oh, okay.
She would.
Yeah.
No, I meant like, a real community event, like something in a park or,
Does it still have like the Pasadena community events where they're trying to give them more information about now the rebuilding process?
Who are you?
Yeah.
You got to introduce yourself. I don't know you.
I am pin friend.
You're Ping's friend. All right. Ping's friend. Go ahead. You have a question.
My name is Claude.
Hi, Claude. Welcome.
Thanks.
Ping's friend.
I'm very ignorant, but it looks like it's very active, the market there, or I'm wrong.
Yes, it's active. We're 35 are selling a month, roughly.
It's good, right?
That is,
Or normal?
it's normal. Is it normal? Not normal, but
It's like, it's good that it's active, but it's also not good that there's so many, and that they're just sitting.
So it's a little too high to be normal, let's say.
yes, yes.
So maybe because the prices are lower than what used to be, I guess, right? So the fires.
And I think that we're going to have to see prices drop. I think what even started part of this conversation was Gabe sat there and said, oh, things are selling in the 8s and the 9s. And I said, no. Where you're seeing it, it's in the 5s. If you have a $500 or a $600 lot, that's what then, therefore, I started going, I got to see what price range is really selling. And
But you know what?
what?
When I look at this, I see days on market, 14 days, 16 days. Is that really like that awful?
No, but that's,
I don't think that's
That's fast, right?
I mean, so I wouldn't say they're sitting.
We're very spoiled because
Yeah.
we've had for years and years and years where you just list a house and you have 25 offers,
Right.
like
Oh, I know,
overnight,
I know.
you know? So when I sold my house, like I lived in Miami and I sold my house a little bit after 9/11, like a year or two after that. And I was on the market for almost 2 months and I had one offer. And it was $20,000 below asking. And I was perfectly happy. I thought I did great. Like, we're just very spoiled right now that it's been so easy to sell.
And also, I think, hasn't land always sat a little bit?
yes, land has been traditionally sat and sat and sat and sat.
So I don't know, I'm optimistic.
Good.
I'm optimistic, 14 days, 16 days, that's not bad. If it's under a month, I think.
And I
I'm gonna
think,
be happy.
and I think it's also about price and the size of the lot and the location again.
Yeah.
Are there any specific or special forms?
Yes. Yeah, we have Vince, the attorney, has come up with forms that we have to use to cover ourselves. And I think there's only one for listings, but when you get a buyer, when you have a buyer on a listing or you have a buyer who's buying it, there's all sorts of forms.
Buyer beware forms.
Yes.
But I think it also just depends how many forms they're gonna be, just depending on the lot too, right?
Yes, and how much work has been done.
Yeah.
hasn't been cleared. And I was talking to an agent over the weekend. She was saying, okay, so I have had clearance on one and two have been done. And I have clearance from the Army of Corps. But she goes, well, have you been, the erosion spray, have you heard anything about the erosion spray? I hadn't heard anything about the erosion spray either.
I have in Malibu, because like the beaches are contaminated there because of all the runoff.
Oh, well, of course.
Plastic and metals from the burned houses.
Wow. I guess we have it pretty good here.
I don't know, because
We'll know in 5 years if we're dead or not.
that's the problem, yeah. I don't know if actually the soil's been tested. I heard there was gonna be testing, and then I heard they were gonna, the government wasn't gonna do it, so I don't know.
No, the soils are not being tested.
The PUSD tested soils. The district schools all
Oh,
tested
yeah,
soils.
I know they did, and there were 6 schools that were
There were some schools, but some of the schools that were closest to the fire, I live by Don Benito, and my kids go there. So we're really close to the fire, so we thought that our school was gonna have a lot of contamination, but it was all green. We were
good.
we were like one of the few campuses that everywhere was clear.
Now, isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, so.
I just-
Yeah, one of my friends who's a scientist thinks that because we're so close to the mountain, that most of what burned over and blew over our area was forest fire stuff versus, there were dozens of houses that burned, but not as many compared to Altadena, which was thousands of houses burning. So, like the
Much more contamination.
How close you were to the fire can really depend on how much.
But what I was saying is they haven't done testing on all of the residences.
No.
And they're not going to apparently. They're leaving it up to
The individual.
owners or the buyers to do it. And from what I've been told, it costs like $35,000-$40,000 to remedy the situation if it is toxic. So
Less to test.
Yeah.
Well,
so
is that
I-
a requirement for buildings? So, but they're gonna force you to test either way, like the seller or the buyer has to do it?
I don't know. I don't know.
That'd be a good question, yeah.
Yeah. But, I know with the house that, I have, that I'm not on yet, we're choosing to not do the soil testing and to inform the buyers.
And the house that came up, was it in the fire zone?
Oh, yeah, everything around it burned down.
That's what
Except for the house across the
phase
street.
1 is supposed to do. The phase 1 should say, hey, alert, you might want to test the soil. Should require a soil test, I would think, but I
Also,
don't.
the remediation costs, you could probably work that into closings.
Yeah.
I don't know, cause yeah, you'd have to put it out in front.
Yeah,
It's unknown. I just say, I know that one of the things that the broker is concerned about is future lawsuits. Not so much today, but what if somebody buys a house in Rubio Crest and they don't do all the testing and somebody comes out and has lung cancer and, oh my God, I inhaled all that stuff, I'm gonna go back and sue the seller. I
But
mean,
it's been disclosed.
well, that's why we have all the forms that Vince
Yeah.
has written.
Yeah.
But it's still, I mean, that is the fear. And one of the reasons he doesn't want us doing leases in the fire zone is because there was a lawsuit in Santa Barbara from the fires in Santa Barbara. A tenant went in, tenant got sick, tenant sued and got millions. So, and it was, of course, they sued the realtor and the real estate company. I mean, so I think that is concerns. We just have to be ultra nice. ultra thorough.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was fun. What else do we want to talk about?
Well, there's a lot of variety in terms of houses that didn't burn that are close to the fires. Like, so in Upper Hastings Ranch, like I'm remediating my house, but my neighbor across the street, she's 93. She stayed home during the fire.
Oh my
When
God.
the police were like, leave now, she was asleep. They were like, you know, and she's not doing a damn thing to her house. So like, whatever, all the smoke and everything that was inside of her house, yeah, she got air filters, but you know, one day when her house is sold, there was no remediation, there was no insurance claim. Like, I couldn't even go to get, like, at one point they were giving us $250 for free from like the fire from LA County. She wouldn't even take that. She was like, no, I don't need that.
She's 93, she's got this.
She doesn't need anything. Yeah, but I mean, but there's a lot of, you know, like some people are thoroughly, like, you know, remediating their houses and having them professionally cleaned, and their attic insulation is being replaced, and other people, it's all gonna still be, you know, contaminated from the smoke.
Yeah.
Even if their house didn't burn.
Well, I think it just depends on the buyer, 'cause like the one we sold, she just had the standard inspection, didn't have any questions, nothing, closed, signed off, done.
Oh, don't tell Ken that. Oh,
You know, the ducts have been cleaned,
Right.
everything has been
Right.
remediated. They just aren't doing the soil testing because the government didn't require it, or the government didn't do it. There were studies done, I guess, they said, you know, because Altadena is such an old community, it wouldn't just be the top 6 inches that you had to test. You'd have to keep going and you'd still find
There's
stuff.
contamination.
Yeah,
There were
because
toxins before the fire.
Right, because there were previous fires,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
right across the street from Loma Alta. Everything up there had burned before.
Yeah.
Cause I remember when I sold the house on Loma Alta a few years ago, they were like, yeah, our insurance is fine, but the people across the street got, you know, a bad deal, cause the fire stopped right there. So you know that they have stuff in their soil anyway.
But the water testing's been okay in Altadena?
I understand not. But I don't know that for a fact.
I would drink the tap water anyway.
I know that up in Lavinia, they're still cleaning out the pipes. I don't know, it's a mess.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So aren't we going to have fun this year?
Yeah, that'd be great, it'd be fabulous.
Well, I think that one thing is that it does show that people need our
Expertise.
insight and expertise, and you know, like what we're talking about and thinking about, and being able.
Bye, Robbie Jean. I think one of the big issues, we have 3 clients that all have their houses have burnt, and they're all looking to buy now. The problem they're going to be having is one of them had California Fair Plan, and I understand you can't get California Fair Plan if you just you're using it for your house in Altadena, that you're being put on a wait list.
So you have to sell that property in order to get a new one?
I don't know that.
Wait a minute, so if they had a house in Altadena burned down and they had California Fair Plan, they got their money, they wanna go buy a new house in like San Marino, they can't get California Fair Plan again?
Oh,
Cause
But they still
when
have
you-
the other house.
after the fire, you didn't have to pay the California premiums anymore because it was stopped, right? Because there was no house. So now you still have your original policy that doesn't include fire, but you have no house. So in order to get fire insurance
Oh, for
for
the
a new house, yeah.
Are they just buying fire insurance on the private market and they just can't get?
So now they're forced to look and make sure it's not in a fire area,
yeah.
lower fire probability.
Well, so bottom line is, if we're working with somebody like these clients, I have them talking to the insurance companies already, because if they can't get it, Now, okay, so Laura Brighton Burns put an offer in on Midwick, which is in the fire zone. But her client that is buying it had USAA and somebody else as insurance. So they could still get California Fair Plan because they didn't already have it. Because nobody else is going to
Right on.
Right.
give you insurance.
So, okay, that
But
makes
if they
sense.
don't have a house anymore,
So
Technically,
even,
that's how
so
it's
they
working.
got a claim, they wanna buy another house in,
Yeah.
from you in San Marino,
but there's,
They're,
then they can probably get some private.
yeah.
they can probably get USAA. They don't need
They
Cal.
can use, yeah, they can get
What's
fire
your-
insurance.
So that says to me, we need to have
The insurance.
the insurance guys come back and give us some.
Yeah.
I think so.
But the thing is there's probably not gonna be another fire in Altadena in 20 years.
Yeah.
What's left to burn?
Yeah.
All of Sierra Madre, all of Azusa, all that area.
But I mean, Altadena. You
Well, even
know,
like Sierra
it's
Madre.
But I thought that when I sold a house on Mariposa Street and before the fires, and the buyer's agent wanted me to have like a special LA County, like, you know, they had some document, and I was like, we did the hazard report, it's not in a high-risk fire zone. My seller is not providing that to you. If your buyer wants to get it, your buyer can get it. Almost every house on that street burned, and I thought the fires would never come down that far. And right afterwards, you know, my husband was like, there's a registered letter for you. And I thought, oh, they're suing me, their house burned. I was in Anaheim because I was evacuated, but it wasn't, it was from something else. But I was terrified that that buyer's house was burned, and it turned out that theirs was like one of like 2 houses that didn't burn.
So do you think we get somebody in from like insurance and from Fair Plan maybe? In to come talk?
Yeah, if I can weigh in, I think that.
You can weigh in.
Good segue. It's the exact issue I'm facing right now. We're going to sell our condo in Glendale, and we want to purchase, we were originally going to purchase in Altadena. And now, the insurance question is the question I do not have answered yet.
Yeah.
Because is it even okay to look up, up to Washington? That's what I'm hoping, because that's where my wife teaches and all that stuff. So, yeah, I would love for an insurance person to come and help us navigate that.
We will. I'll make sure we get that done sooner than later, because it's one of those things we need to know.
Especially now, like when we had the open house in Sierra Madre that we had, one of the neighbors came by and told me his insurance was $15,000 a year.
Ooh.
Over on Grandview. If that's his, somebody were to buy that, what does that mean for them?
I want to check one more thing. How many active did we say we have now? 143 today.
Oh, yeah, so 2 went on today.
Yeah, and that's,
Oh, I think Brian put one on today.
he was,
He was just trying to miss you.
okay, I know where are you? Do you see where it is?
No, it's gone.
Oh, there you are. So when you see people saying the average sales price was $712, say it's not true.
So what is the average sales price?
It shows it's $712, but it depends on your area and depends on, it's $71, $72 a square foot.
So then would you recommend we do this, like, because I know you like to draw on the maps and CMAs, would you recommend that, like really making it tight?
Yes.
So make it as tight as possible, basically.
Well, giving them the information as much as we can possibly give them. Then so they can make their own minds up.
So
But again, the whole reason I did this was because I didn't know. And it was like, okay, how do we do that? All right.
Oh, click on Altadena.
What's that?
Click on it.
Where? It's just spinning.
I thought it was just showing you the Altadena as a selection, but then you gotta select it.
Well, most lots are, whatever, most lots are, let's say, 8,000 square feet, you know, and then the bigger lots are probably more.
Yeah, like a 10,000 square foot lot.
Okay, so
But what I wanna know is
No.
what you're gonna, how are you gonna convince your country club people to lower the price, or are you not?
I'm gonna wait, because I had 2 people start calling me about it, so it's like I'll give them a chance.
So Jane, how long has it been on the market?
It's, almost a month.
And then you haven't had any offers yet
No offers, but I've only had 2 inquiries
from agents?
from agents.
That's a big lot.
Yeah, it's 12,000.
Is it flat, the lot?
Yes.
And wouldn't the country club, I don't know these areas, is it the east of Lake? No, not all of it.
And this lot sits right across the street from the country club.
That's a hazard, isn't it? So
16. How many did we say yesterday?
16.
So nothing's changed. Nothing went in. So, all right, but what's the price point? Oh, there's the $17 million, which really screws it up. North Fair,
Big is that one? 17 million.
2415, let's look it up. 6 parcels,
3 point, is that?
oh, 3 acres.
Oh, it's 3 acres.
3 acres, no wonder. Yeah. Developers know this.
it's mixed use, yeah, it's totally a different animal.
Yeah, that one's also listed much higher, 132 a square foot.
Yeah, but it's commercial and residential, so you can put a big,
Yeah.
it'll be a big mixed use.
Okay, we're gonna take it off our,
Yeah, just, can't you do it where you throw out the top and the bottom one?
yes, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's,
Yeah.
so it's pretty well 4 in the 7s, 3 in the 6s, 4 in the 5s.
So what does it come out to now?
Okay, so without the $17 million loan, so we're looking at.
Did you-
Well, that's about the 17 million, but it's almost 4 acres.
Yeah, I took it out just so,
So even residential land's going for 3.8 million an acre, so.
see, that's, Joycelyn, that's where the issue is. I need to change it so it comes up here. But it does show our acres. So average sales list price was $585. And I can't read that, you know, it's terrible. It's at $566 and $585. So we call it $570 is the average of the pending. So if you had a $500 or $600,000 lot, you have a better chance of getting it sold.
Yeah.
Well, Okay, now that we've been around and around, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if these are small developers, so they're,
Did you find that list?
Yeah, well, this actually goes to March 26th.
Oh, it's not recent.
So it's not, she said they're updating it, so I'm gonna email her and say, is there an updated list? But this has, they've been tracking, it's mostly Plume Capital Investments, DIM Holdings, there's a few names, but a lot of them are corporations.
I heard Ocean something is buying up a bunch.
Ocean Development,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they had purchased 5 by the time this list was done.
And that's only into March, so they bought a lot.
March 26th, yeah.
I'm sorry, who said had that list? Who was that?
It's on somebody emailed me, somebody from Girl Scouts emailed it to me.
must be great.
It's this person, Matthew, VU, I don't know who he is or why he's making this list, but
They're wanting to know.
they're kind of like trying to stop them from selling to commercial.
Is that guy, anybody here that's from a vendor? I just don't know. This guy's back there, okay. I don't know who's at the round table.
That's Claude, is the guy with the
Yeah.
shorter hair, the white guy, and then the Asian guy is Jackson.
Thank you. Okay, well, there's pizza. And
What's all this stuff?
I don't know, it's somebody's birthday. And it's not today. Friday. And I will be 75. And how that happened is beyond me. I don't know how it happened. Yeah.